This is U.S. Navy veteran reacts to life on a U.S. Navy destroyer, the documentary. Let's get it. So this is a U.S. Navy video of life on the destroyer.
Many people describe destroyers as kind of, they call them greyhounds, but they also refer to them as the workhorses of the Navy.
The
Pretty much
workhorse
because
of
they're
the
almost
Navy.
like this Swiss Army knife.
How old is this dude? How old is the commander of
Forces of the Navy?
This ship?
Pretty much.
Commander Mark Lawrence of the USS Paul Hamilton, at 19 years old, becomes the youngest commanding officer of any ship ever. Holy smokes. Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Because they're almost like this Swiss Army knife.
Wow. Young dude. Hell yeah. Get after it. Sea Whiz.
Indy run!
Obviously, in a name, we destroy stuff.
Oh yeah. FC. So FCs, fire controlmen, are in charge of the weapons on the ship. So they maintain the guns, they maintain the missiles, they fire the do all the test firing. So if you've ever been, what you're seeing on the screen right now, if you've ever been next to a weapon like this, when it fires, it's pretty intense. FCs have a cool job. They're out there working super hard on all different kinds of ships. Shout out to the FC community.
The mission of the destroyer is basically we're a warship. Basically, just to bring the heat.
Basically, no doubt.
The mission of the destroyer, when you go on deployment,
See that shell?
is to protect the carrier.
We have
So when a fleet deploys, it's called the Carrier Strike Group. So you've got all kinds of ships, supply ships, destroyers, littoral combat ships, submarines, amphib ships, and the mission of every other ship is to support carrier operations. The carrier is the centerpiece of a battle group. The carrier just has the ability to destroy anything. A Navy aircraft carrier and subsequent battle group is an unbelievable warfighting powerhouse. And every other ship that is in a battle group besides the carrier is there to support the carrier.
underwater detection and tracking and also engagement capabilities. We have surface warfare capabilities. We have a lot of capabilities so far as surface and air interception.
Yeah, but
So life on a destroyer, it's...
So what you were seeing there, different colored shirts on the flight deck represent different jobs. Blue shirts are generally aircraft handlers. So are yellow shirts. So just a little heads up there. That was just an interesting little piece of information. Purple shirts. I was a purple shirt, a grape. They fuel the helicopter.
It's not a normal working environment.
It can be really hectic. Things change at a drop of a hat. We could be called upon to go anywhere at any time. And there's very few of us on these ships. It's exciting. It can be boring.
Look really quick at the angle of the ship. I think that is the camera, because the ship should be moving if it's all angled like that. So but it's not uncommon for a ship to list back and forth like this, left and right. And it can get pretty steep angles, like 30, 40 degree angles in bad weather. And you're holding on for dear life. You were holding on for dear life.
But always dynamic.
It's definitely smaller than aircraft carriers and all that. But it being so small, you learn a little bit about everything. Like, you know everybody, you get to see what everybody...
So people who, heave the ropes like that are generally bosun's mates, but on a small ship like this, it could be other rates as well who are just part of that particular assignment during getting the ship underway or getting it into port, as well as when you go to battle stations. A lot of times you have a separate job aside from your normal job. So if you go to general quarters or you go to your assigned damage control locker, you could be any rate and you go do these side jobs as well. So you just have your regular job plus your side jobs.
else does.
We're all cross-trained individuals, and I've certainly found that down to the most junior sailor we've got. They are kind of rough and ready to get into whatever needs to be done day to day. There's no one just doing their core role on a destroyer if that destroyer is actually succeeding at its mission set. With 270 or 340 people, no one can stand on the sidelines.
You learn a lot of your rate on a destroyer. It depends on the day, but most days it's, you wake up, get out of your rack, get ready, go get dressed, shower, whatever you do what you gotta do, and you go to work.
No matter what you do, you always have a watch and stand. So for me, for example, I stand watch in the morning and at night. And all the time in between is work time or personal time.
Everyone stands watch.
So standing watch on a ship is usually something in addition to your regular job, but it could be during your normal working hours or in addition to your normal working hours. So let's say generally you have like a day shift and a night shift on a ship is my experience. So 12 hours, 12 hours. So 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Now you could have a 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. job and a watch from 2200 to 0200 or something like that. So you'd be up in the middle of the night and that interrupts your sleep. Now, if that's the case, a lot of times they'll try to give you some time off or let you sleep in a little bit. And a lot of times they won't. If your manning is tight, then they won't. So it is what it is. You just got to get it done. I mean, you're on a ship. You ain't doing anything else.
Because the ship has to be manned 24/7, right? We're on the water, so we have to basically be eyes and ears at all times. We also have drills during the day. It could be damage control drills. We also have training.
Drills are the worst.
Our normal
drills are
mess
the
decks
worst.
and galley hours.
The worst drill is the man overboard drill. Because if you're a night shift person, here's how it was in the Navy. If you were working night shift and you were getting underway, you would try to go to sleep in the morning when the ship goes underway. But every time the ship goes underway, once you're sailing, they do a man overboard drill because they get accountability of everybody. Everyone musters or gets accountability of their troops, their sailors, and then reports that up, and then you proceed. But that meant if you were night shift, you had to wake up, go down to man overboard, wow, complaining sailor, but you had to get up and go do that, and it was so annoying.
Recreational time.
So different people there, they could be on a nocturnal schedule. They could be absolutely sleeping during the day and working or standing watch during the night. It just depends.
So if we don't keep track of the days, or if we don't try to go out, it'll be Wednesday for a week straight. We won't even realize it. So the first time I went underway, it was Wednesday for 3 days, because if you think about it, our days are in 2 parts, so it'll be Monday part 1 and 2. That's how we keep track of it. So it's just trying to keep track of those types of things.
Going into the Thunderdome.
So what he was saying was, and it's common, is a lot of times you'll go to sleep on a Monday morning and you'll wake up on a Monday afternoon and it's still Monday. It's Monday again. And so I remember that. We used to say the same thing. Not 3 parts, but 2. 2-part days. Monday morning and Monday evening. Yeah, that's true.
My name is Fire Controlman Aegis First Class Surface Warfare Amanda Michelle Kellis. I'm from Vass, North Carolina. I'm a spy technician on board, so my radar is the primary air and surface search radar, high power, 360-degree multifunctional phased array. We're able to pick up targets from a really far distance away and be able to track them even further and help our ship be able to have early warning for any inbound air or surface combatants.
We're going to make sure we know, who are you? What are your intentions? This is a U.S. Navy warship. We are not to be messed with. I mean, sometimes it's slow, but sometimes it's absolutely the opposite. And then, almost immediately, it could just mellow out again. It's just...
So here's something common that happens is you'll be underway and another ship will, sail up on a ship to try to check them out, because it could be just people out there enjoying a day at sea and they're like, oh, I want to get up close to this Navy ship and see I want to see it up close. Well, prepare to get some serious threats against you, because if you approach a military vessel and let's say you're in an aggressive posture, you could get shot, you could get blown up. So what they're saying is they're going to challenge another ship at sea as they're coming up on it and make sure that ship is friendly or that they know to back up. Same thing. We've had helicopters. Sometimes they'll deploy a helicopter and the helicopter will go fly over the other ship and kind of see what's going on with it. That's another common thing that they'll do. But it's good that, you know, we exercise a lot of restraint in that, because most of the time it's not something nefarious. But you always have to remember stuff like the USS Cole. When they were in port, a ship came up with explosives on it and blew a hole in the side of their ship, killing sailors on board. So it's a stressful moment. You don't think about it, but then when you're in it, you're like, oh man, are we about to open fire on this little vessel coming at us? You don't know what to do. So that's kind of what they're talking about.
Set. Yellow, safe. Weapons posture 1, air.
Oh, I can't wait to shoot a missile.
Oh, yeah.
172.
Nice.
Success.
Badass.
Okay, my name is Ashley Lisette Sepulveda. My job title is electronic technician. I am from Miami, Florida, but my entire family is from Puerto Rico. I actually did not want to go to a ship. I didn't know any surface ships at all.
Those little scuttles, those little scuttle holes you have to climb through down these ladder wells. That's how most people get hurt on board a ship. You want to know what most seagoing injuries are? It's people falling down these, or hitting their heads on the doors, or tripping over knee knockers, they call them, which are like where the door shuts and seals. It's not just flush with the ground. You got to step over something. Number one injuries on a ship, ladder wells, so dangerous. Knee knockers. It's just walking around that'll get you. Because now imagine you're walking down this and the ship's going like this. You're running up and down these in general quarters, even though you're not supposed to. You're supposed to walk, but you know, you run. So
I
super
only
dangerous.
seen carriers, and that's because of movies. My job on a destroyer, I'm an electronics technician. Another word that they call us as ETs is the everything tech. So it's pretty funny because we do essentially fix everything on the ship, from phones to simple speakers to more complex
ETs
systems
do have a
like
hard
weapon
job.
systems,
ETs do a lot of work.
communication systems. So yeah, we get hands-on with pretty much anything electronic.
Just checking the phones, making sure phones on the ship are working.
I always loved engineering since a little kid. I always say that. I just thought everything that I'm doing is really, really cool. I get a little bit like nerdy when it comes to what I do.
I definitely love DDG. I'm really glad that I came to a small boy versus a big tech.
So DDG, small boy, the type of ship they're on is a DDG, like an aircraft carrier nuclear is a CVN, a ballistic missile submarine is an SSBN. So they're on a DDG. Could have an LCS, an LHC, an LHA, all kinds of different stuff. And then small boy, it says here, you can see it on the screen, but sailor slang term for small ships. So are you on a small boy or a big deck? And basically the aircraft carrier is the big deck, and everything else is a small boy.
Because I get to touch all of the equipment as an electronics technician, and that's why I joined, because I love being an ET. I did engineering a lot in high school, and I went to college before this. Here I'm getting the experience as I wanted as an electronic technician, being hands-on with all the equipment. Because we're in such close premises with all the equipment, one person essentially will be able to do all, versus on a carrier or a bigger deck, they have several departments that can handle, let's just say, one specific equipment. So they'll be working on that one for most of their time, rather than an ET on a small boat, you would be working on everything.
It's true. The smaller the crew, the more responsibility you have, and that applies to any job in the military. You better start learning how to be a mechanic, a firefighter, your actual job, a watchstander, using some binoculars, talking on the radio. You know, talking on the radio is like a whole job. You think you could just talk on a radio? I don't think so. You're going to mess that up plenty of times. I promise you that. It's so funny to watch people have total mental breakdowns trying to talk on a radio. Now, on an aircraft carrier with so many people, you might have an ET who they work on one specific piece of equipment, or like an IC who does like the phones might work on one particular type of phone, while somebody else works on one particular type of internet or onboard the ship network. So yeah, the less people, the broader the job. That's just how it is, just how the numbers work out.
Okay. Okay, so my first name is Victor, last name Rocha. I'm a GSE. I'm currently the LPO for EMO4, which is the gas turbine electrical. My main role here is to make sure that whatever the bridge calls, that we're able to provide propulsion for that, no matter what. So I was originally born in Granada, Nicaragua, and then I came to the United States in '99, and I lived in Pennsylvania. So it's actually, I was an undergrad at Penn State, and then when I showed up here, it's nothing what you expect. So I'm a gas turbine technician, electrical. What that means is I work with jet engines that produce power and propulsion. I oversee a work center of 8 people, and what we're in charge of is making sure that these engines produce propulsion and electricity for the ship. The first time you go into an engineering space, you're kind of in awe, because you just don't realize how big an engineering space is. You also don't realize how big the ship is. Like, it kind of looks big from the outside, but then you realize how really big it is once you're inside and you're like this little insignificant dot walking through the space.
So let me tell you guys a quick story. On the aircraft carrier, when I was working in the fuels division, we used to do this watch where we would go around the ship and we would go check all the spaces where the fuel pumps are and make sure nothing was leaking and there was no problem. We had one spot. We would have to climb down 7 ladder wells to the 08 level. I'm sorry, the 8th deck, not the 08. There's an 03 on the carrier. Oh my gosh, it's been a while. 03 on the carrier is the top deck. Go down to the 8th deck, which is below decks. 2nd deck is where the galley is. Then climb down 7 ladder wells. So think about that. The galley is basically where the ship is in the water. So if you see the ship, the aircraft carrier in the water, that's where the galley is. Now, go down 7 ladders, and I was in a warehouse. I would all of a sudden be in a warehouse-sized room. Like, how can this exist? I couldn't even, and to this day, I can't really picture where I was on the ship. It's so big, you can't even wrap your mind around it unless you've been there and seen it yourself. And even if you've been there and seen it, it's still totally unbelievable. Okay, let me take a minute to catch up with some comments here. So, Joe, what's up, Joe? Thanks for tuning in. A whole lot of nope on that angle. Yeah, no doubt. I've been laying on the flight deck, like holding on to not get, roll off the side, because usually if you have high seas like that, you have high winds as well. So Joe says, I've come to realize the military isn't about pay when considering rank. It's avoiding the shitty jobs and getting someone new to do it. I'll tell you what, dude, you're so right. I wouldn't have traded any rank in the Navy to be a nuke. I was so glad I wasn't a nuke. And if I was a nuke, I would just be glad I wasn't in the Army. That's what I've always said. I'm like, the worst day you've had in your Navy career, at least you weren't in the Army. Colton says, hell of an experience. It is. Colton, what's your background? Are you military? Colton says, are storms ever a problem for these fleets? Storms are a problem, but they're pretty good about sailing around them and avoiding them. These ships aren't going to sink in a storm, but they do get tossed around pretty good. So I hope you don't have too serious of a problem with seasickness, because you will be looking at some serious barfing going on. All right, let's get back to the video.
It's loud, very loud. You have propulsion machinery going on in there. You have all types of stuff going on there. Everything that keeps the ship afloat and running is in there. So it's loud, it's hot.
This is the heart of everything. Everything starts down here. So when we're getting ready to get underway, down here is at the busy time. Everybody's trying to start systems, trying to start fuel, move oil, so on and so forth. So these engines put out for like 40,000 horsepower and can push a 505-foot ship through their water at like 30 plus knots. So it's pretty incredible. It's incredible. We only have 4, and these 4 engines do a great job of doing it.
You can kind of see on here, it's extremely loud on the ship. It's extremely loud, and that noise, you kind of get used to it, but you don't realize until you get off the ship how much constant noise there is. Even if it's just the air conditioning systems, constant noise. And when these ships really turn up the heat and start going fast through the water, that's amazing too. Seeing a carrier go full speed, unbelievable. The top speed of a carrier is classified, but I think online, let me not blow any OPSEC over here. The top speed of a carrier is classified, but they post a speed online that you can Google, and it's blank plus knots. I'll check it out real quick. I'll look that up and get back to you at the next break.
The 3 generators that we own, that literally powers everything on the ship. It powers everything from our water pumps that give us drinking water to the radar. You know, everything is powered by us. We're pretty much the ones that supply power to everybody, and then we turn that over to the electricians mates who actually route the power where it needs to go. So we meet halfway with them.
It's how we make our drinking water. You have somebody come around every hour and check on it, make sure we have enough water for the crew. And we provide hot water to the whole ship for showering and cooking and all that. Back there, literally you can see the
So
shaft
loud.
going all the way back
So
to the back
loud.
end of the ship.
You don't know.
And you
You
can
have to
tell,
experience
like,
it.
if, you know, even if you're not topside, you can kind of tell how fast we're going based on how fast the shaft is rotating. It's like one of the great things about doing what I do. It's never a dull day.
Those
You always-
engine
you always
rooms
got
are
something going on.
insane. Insane. I couldn't do it. I'm not a real mechanical person.
My full name is Joshua Sanders, and I am GM2 Sanders, and I'm a gunner's mate. I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Gunners mates, they'll probably talk about, but gunners mates do everything with the guns. Everything with the guns. Cleaning them, maintaining them, making sure that they're fully functional, test fires, all that.
Before I joined the Navy, I didn't know there was different types of ships, you know, just based off of what you see on TV. Big ships, small ships. We're on a smaller ship, but no, I didn't know anything.
He's got
at all.
ammo cans behind him. Nice. So that looks like a
as a
240.
gunner's mate, we were responsible for all small arms.
240 machine
regarding
gun?
Pistols, shotguns, rifles, and torpedo tubes, and various amounts of other
50
equipment on the
cal.
ship. Also 50 calibers and 240s. So all types of small arms and crew service.
So these ships have even aircraft carriers. Even aircraft carriers are manned with machine gun turret positions around the side to defend against small boat attacks. Because let's say a small boat does get within range of a ship, it's going to be a machine gunner that takes it out, hopefully. So you've got 50 cal and 240 machine gun nests or turrets, pintle mounts, whatever you want to call it, up all around the ship around the deck. So, yep, I checked an aircraft carrier's speed online. It says 30 plus knots. So 30 plus knots, but asterisk on the plus, I'll tell you that.
Weapons. We're responsible for maintaining them, issuing to the crew, anything in our job that we shoot. We always have to do pre-fires, so that's making sure that the weapons are good to go, make sure that they function properly.
Sometimes they let other people go up there and shoot the guns.
So it's like, okay, cool, we had a fun day of shooting, now we got to clean up.
But then they have to go clean them and oil them. That's when the real fun begins.
Okay. I think that we might have to just forego the swabbing at the moment since
I live in a space that has 24 racks for females, and we have 3 sinks, 1 shower, and 2 toilets.
It's weird because I've never worked anywhere where like you kind of are, you know, like you go from being in a professional setting to like in your pajamas just hanging out like within 200 feet.
You get accustomed to it. Yeah, it's small. It's not a lot of.
The racks are so small. It's I'm 6'2", about 200 pounds. I couldn't roll over in my rack. My shoulders would be really tight. I couldn't extend my body all the way. My feet and head would hit. There were people a lot bigger than me on the ships. It is a tight fit. There are not enough toilets. There are not enough showers. There are not enough sinks. And there is certainly a smell associated with all that. And then berthing inspections. You don't want to work that night shift. Very sleepless when they go through and do the berthing inspection. And they rip open your curtain because they want to make sure that your night shift, you're not just skating, sleeping in your rack. Not fun. Not fun.
Room, but it's like yours, you know, and you just get comfortable in it. You just gotta make it yours, you know.
Here it is. This is home. I can sit up in it, which is pretty nice, because otherwise you're kind of constricted to this little like tinder box of love. And we're allowed to have like an 8x11 sized area for family photos, or your kitty cat, your doggy, goldfish, whatever you want.
We each have our EVDs, or emergency escape breathing devices, just in case.
AKA another thing to hit your head on.
Bad business
Now, look,
happens.
if you're thinking about joining the Navy, let me give you a pro tip here, okay? If you're going to be on a ship, let me give you the pro tip that you need to know. Top rack, okay? Top rack. Here's the plus and here's the positive and negative of a top rack. Negative, the air conditioner blows right on your face. And there's no ceiling, so lights get in. You got a lot of light pollution. Positive, here's why it's worth it. You can sit up. You can sit all the way up in a top rack. Unless you're unlucky and you got one that a bunch of pipes roll over, but you might be able to sit up in a top rack, and that makes it all worth it. So my recommendation, top rack.
Lights go down, there's a fire and smoke.
Plus, one more thing on the top rack. You won't have people climbing over you all day long. So the people who live above you when you're in those other racks, they just climb right over you, step on you, rip your curtain. You want that top rack.
Can clock that guy on, and we've got good breathing air for about 15 minutes to be able to egress out of this space and topside. These are hurricane straps that keep us inside the beds. I'm sure the more tinier folks, there's a little bit more margin for error.
It's all right. You know, you just got to remember where you are, because if not, you know, you'll wake up and hit your head. It's not too bad. It's really not.
Just hop in there, you know.
It's not that bad.
Literally.
But it's not that great.
Bam. Right on in, you know. And it's comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
You get that little light.
Somebody told me this when I first
maybe a little power
literally
supply.
The best sleep you'll ever get, because the ship's rocking. So
that's true.
Even if it's like 3 or 4 hours, it's probably some of the best sleep you'll ever have.
You do sleep well. It's
The
true.
XO is very keen on, if the light touches it, then there could be dust. So he creeps around really, really thoroughly. So in anticipation of him coming here, I'm just...
Here's the deal. The XO is responsible for cleanliness. That's it. It's the XO's one of his primary responsibilities. Cleanliness on a ship is super important. Really is. So the XO will be up in there, making sure you're cleaning, walking around during cleaning hour, making sure everything's good to go.
While we're talking, just kind of straighten up people's business.
Gear drift, crash on the deck, sleeping bag and the angle irons. So we just did Berthing 3's berthing inspection. It's something that we do daily. The premise behind it is that this is our largest berthing on board. Roughly 100 people live in here, and so if we can't keep it clean, the sheer nature of that many people living in this space, it just adds to the ability of the body to fight off the infections, the germs, etc., the crud, the cough. So keeping it clean every day is a requirement, and it's about keeping the crew healthy.
It's really true.
Let's go, baby. Let's get this gym, baby.
The people want.
So the gyms are very small, they get very crowded, and they get very hot and sweaty.
Sometimes they have limited hours. Officers only, chiefs only.
You figure out how to make it work.
You know what's funny about working out on a ship is as the ship leans back and forth, left and right, you'll be on the bench doing a bench press. One rep will be like there's no weight on the bar, and the next one you'll be crushed, because as the ship leans, it gets easier and harder to lift the weights. If you've been there, you know what I'm talking about.
You don't know what's going to happen in the middle of the ocean. You don't know if you are out there fighting a fire or a damage, or we get hit by something. You would have to swim, you would have to pull yourself up. You don't know what dangers you will face.
Nice.
And if your body's
She's
not
fit.
physically prepped for the stamina endurance that you're about to face, then you are in danger of yourself, and maybe putting other people's in danger, because they might have to go back to help you because you can't physically help yourself.
Kind of prison workouts in a way, I suppose. I run on a treadmill as well. You're kind of just like, you're running, and then we start taking a turn, you're like, whoa, and then it's like a hill, and it's like, ah, so it's a little bit more interesting than just running on flat land treadmill.
The things get heavier, then things get lighter, and then things get heavier.
The four of us work together. We're all GSEs. We all work in the same division, so we probably spent like 40, 80 hours a week together. So we do everything together. We all sleep in the same berthing. We go to lunch together. We go to breakfast together. We work out together. It's good, you know. We have this good camaraderie. We're always like, you know, of course we get mad at each other, just like you would with anybody, but it doesn't last very long. You know, you're gonna be with this guy.
Those are not good reps, by the way. I have to call this guy out. Those are not even half reps. Dude, you're not even half repping it. And you're on the Smith machine, which is super necessary because on the ship you'll kill yourself doing free weights with the barbell because of what they were saying about when the ship rolls. But you got to do better than that, bro. You're on TV.
Wait, that's the whole month. Like, you know, we get along great. You know, he's like a brother to me, and vice versa. You know, we all know each other's families and stuff. Like, you know, like you end up being real close. Like, even outside of work, we hang out together.
Ooh, we've got chicken wings. We've got mozzie sticks. We ain't got no mozzie sticks. We've got jalapeno poppers, pizza, some zap.
Our CSs do the best that they can, honestly, with having to feed so many people 3 times a day.
I wouldn't want that shit
especially when
food
they're given the
215 days in a
opportunity
row, I'll
to get
tell you
little
that.
frisky with it and throw a little of their own flair. That's always when people go crazy over it.
Every day we serve about almost 300 people. We wake up around 4:30 in the morning, cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We usually get out of here around like maybe 8 o'clock after cleaning all that stuff. On smaller ships, we make more things from scratch. Oh, it's, you know, it boosts morale. You know, that's like one of the biggest things is if the food tastes good and everyone's fed well, then the morale of the crew is always high.
He's thirsty. He's been working all day.
Out there on a foul weather jacket. It's raining.
So, the best thing about being underway, everybody makes fun of each other.
Yeah.
Especially Trenko.
Never. That's like, I never do that.
Like, we all literally depend on it. If, like, EM1 fails to do his job, then, like, we don't have any lighting anywhere, no matter how much power we produce, you know? And so on and so forth. So, like, we give each other a lot of crap, but, you know, like, we all work literally shoulder on shoulder, so it's kind of like you know, it's like your brother. You hate him, but you love him.
Some of the best friends you'll ever have.
We make our own water, we make our own power, and we make our own support system. Your loved ones, they're elsewhere. And you really just have email or snail mail or care packages. So you got these people that you work with.
If you guys want, on a future episode, I'll cover how mail gets to ships. If you guys want that.
All of a sudden are your support system that are there helping you whenever things may not be going right at home, or you're missing something like holidays or birthdays or births of children.
It feels like a family. It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling to know you have so many people who have your back and vice versa.
It's kind of almost like your given family. You can't exactly choose who you're on the ship with. After a time, people just grow on you. You know, you have to engage with these people on the daily, especially on a destroyer.
The brotherhood. You know, I never really had people to, you know, say, you know what, hey, I got your back. You know, the way I look at it, they are pretty much my brothers. You know, and I hope
Shooting at the water.
I've been a good brother to them as they have been to me.
Since I've been in, I've never met anyone who fails to give like less than 100%. You know, like everybody's always willing to be up for the task. We all know how important it is to rely on one another. Like if I fail, that person fails, and so it's a domino effect.
No matter
many times.
What rank you are, no matter what rate you are, you're here for a reason. And
purple shirt, there you go. That was me way back in the day.
See
the blue shirt helping out the purple shirt?
The crew is going to become a second part of family, and they're going to be the ones having your back when things go wrong.
I couldn't not recommend going on a destroyer. It's definitely an interesting lifestyle. Definitely not the easiest. So if you're up for a challenge, it's definitely a place to consider.
You get the real feeling of being a sailor and being in the Navy, which is being part of a crew.
You get the sense of pride of like, you know, not just serving your country, but like, you know, like being part of like a command that can do all these missions. And, you know, you see the fruits of your labor every day. Like what you work and what you do literally comes to fruition all the time you walk around.
It's sometimes it's card games and joking around and goofing, but you can't really, when you're standing on like this steel ground, you can't really forget what you're here for.
All right, guys, thanks for watching that video with me. That was really fun. That's life on a destroyer, so now we know what that is like. If you have any questions about life on a ship or anything like that you want me to address in a future video, drop it in the comments down below, and thanks for watching that. What's up, guys? Thanks for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button up in the corner here and check out this next video. If you want, in the description down below, there's links where you can get ScuttleButt Show merch and find out how you can support the channel. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to talking to you guys very soon.